Many thanks for joining us on News Now on TV360. We'll begin with news from north central Nigeria, where at least 3 people have been burned to death and 5 others injured in an accident on the Zarigi-Lokoja Highway in Kogi State. The public education officer of the Federal Road Safety Corps, BC Kazim, who confirmed the developments, said the accident, which involved 9 people and 3 vehicles, occurred early on Thursday. He also noted that 1 person escaped the accident unhurt. Kazim also blamed the deadly auto crash on overspeeding. The All Progressives Congress APC says it has not released the timetable for state, National Assembly, governorship and presidential primaries. The party's acting national publicity secretary, Yakini Nabena, says reports stating otherwise are untrue. He described the timetable circulating on social media and published in a newspaper as fake, saying it should be disregarded by the public. The Independent National Electoral Commission had in January announced that party primaries will begin August 18, with parties expected to have submitted their candidates by October. The 2019 elections begin on February 16, with the presidential polls coming up first. The APC is expected to field President Muhammadu Buhari as its candidate. Meanwhile, Senate President Bukola Saraki insists he is confident that the People's Democratic Party will reclaim the presidential seat in the 2019 general elections. Saraki, who was part of the winning APC team in 2015, however, urged all members to work together for the good of the party. The former Kwara State governor asked supporters of his new party in his home state to ensure that the PDP's victory begins from all local government areas of Kwara. He says a PDP victory at both federal and state levels would be beneficial to all the members in the state. The Senate leader also urged former PDP members who left the party because of his return not to get the wrong impression that he was back to hijack the party. Ahead of the 2019 elections, a non-partisan group, Catholic Action Nigeria, has asked all Nigerian youth to ensure they actively participate in the process of choosing a new leader. The group says the 2019 polls should be regarded as one of the most important elections in Nigeria's history. They also want all prospective candidates vying for elected positions for president, governorship, state and federal legislatures to submit blueprints for their 10-year economic and political plan for the people.
We call on all patriotic Nigerians, especially the young people, to key into Vision 2039. This vision is derived from the 2020 political theory of the founder of Patriot Movement of Nigeria, which employs young people to embrace a clear vision to strengthen and develop their country's political and economic base, so that a dynamic nation can also be handed over to a next generation after every 20 years. The 3 C's of leadership, which are character, competence, and communication, is very vital in our search for political leaders towards the 2019 general elections. As a nation, we should be on the watch out for the candidate who has the right character to lead a complicated country like Nigeria. Someone who is competent enough to take on the fight for a progressive nation, and someone who will communicate his decisions and intention to achieve a better Nigeria we have all dreamt of. And this will give Nigerians a sense of belonging. Let us make the 2019 general elections go down in the history of Nigeria as a time when we made the perfect choice that has led us to the promised land.
Still ahead of the polls, the national chairman of Action Alliance AA, Kenneth Udeze says he does not believe that 91 parties is too much for Nigeria. The number of registered political parties pushed up to 91 last week after the Independent National Electoral Commission registered 23 new parties. Some political analysts have raised fears that the number may be too much considering the financial implication it may have, but Udeze argues that the number is more than enough for Nigeria's huge population.
I don't share that opinion that 91 political parties are too much for Nigeria. Honestly, the more the merrier. I have to really commend the Independent National Electoral Commission for registering some organizations who have been working and toiling day and night to meet up with the requirements to register their political parties. If Nigerians actually know what it takes to register a political party, you will give kudos to those Nigerians who have toiled day and night to make sure they registered an organization that will be called political parties. Just look at some countries in sub-Saharan Africa that their populations are not even up to 8 million. And you consider the numbers of political parties they have in their country. Put it side by side with the level and the number of the population of Nigeria of over 180 million people. Assuming, for instance, if there are countries that are not up to 10 million by population, and they have over 28 political parties in those countries, and you are talking about Nigeria, over 180 million people, and you are now talking about the number of political, just 91. The truth of the matter is that with the population of Nigeria, we need as many political parties as possible to checkmate the activities of government that we are not comfortable with. Political parties are not necessarily registered in order for you to participate in election. At times, political parties act as pressure group. It's not all political parties that must field candidate presidential election in the presidential election or even governorship election. It's just to register an organization in order to add their voice to what millions of Nigerians have been complaining every day. So I congratulate the latest 23 political parties that were registered by INEC, and I welcome them back on board. As I speak to you now, all the leaders of political parties are meeting here in Abuja, here in Nikon Luxury Hotel, to talk about way forward for conduct of peaceful election in Nigeria.
He, however, noted that there must be continuous voter education to sensitize the public on how the new political parties and how they will be arranged on the ballot paper.
That they have registered 91 political parties does not really mean that we are not going to have challenges with that. But then, when you register, another thing is for you to know how these political parties will come on ballot. Is it every political? There must be a criteria on how political parties appear on ballot papers at the end of the day. One, you consider the age of political parties, their acceptance, and their involvement in all the 36 states of the Federation, those that have two-thirds majority of states in Nigeria, and particularly those that have presidential candidates. Every party, is not every person that you bring out a nomination that goes into the ballot paper. There must be a criteria. So we are suggesting there is need for us to look at political parties, those they are nominating, looking at the tendencies of making sure that the ballot paper does not turn to math, just like we are seeing in countries in the Asia. If INEC have zeroed their mind to register 100 political parties, they must also have brought out guidelines and the models of how to get these political parties on ballot. But that's part of what we are discussing today in our leadership meeting. How do these political parties come on board in the ballot papers? Assuming the 91 political parties decided to field presidential candidate, that is another kettle of fish. But the most important thing is there must be a continuous voter education.
Still on the 2019 elections, the chairman of the Presidential Advisory Committee on Corruption, PACAC, Issei Sege, says the federal government can fund the 2019 general election by invoking the doctrine of necessity should the National Assembly fail to pass the budget. The doctrine of necessity is on the basis on which extra legal actions by state actors, which are designed to restore order, are found to be constitutional. It was last used in Nigeria in 2010 when the National Assembly passed a resolution making the Vice President, Goodluck Jonathan, the acting president. Tage said in a statement that it could be invoked following the delay by the National Assembly to approve the proposed budget of the INEC for the general election. He also said the refusal of the National Assembly to approve funds for the 2019 elections will constitute a sabotage of Nigeria's democracy. An analyst, Kabiru Adamu, has advised that all members of the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS, come together to find a strong way to trace Boko Haram transactions. Adamu gave the advice on the backdrop of a United Nations report which suggested that untraceable cash transactions were fueling Boko Haram's members' funding. Adamu advised member states to work with each other to find rudimental ways to trace not just cash, but other sources of Boko Haram funding.
Everybody who lives in Nigeria, lives in the Lake Chad Basin, knows that the economy in those locations are cash-based. So there is no disputing the fact that the content of that report is true. What remains for us is how do we reduce this cash-based economy? How do we trace movement of money within that region? I expect ECOWAS and other regional partners to come together and agree means with which to reduce this element, with this vulnerability, that's what I would call it, that these groups are exploiting to generate funding and continue with their activities. However, there are various means with which you can reduce it. Let's go back to even history. We started trading by exchange, and the reason for then was because there was value in what you are giving the next person. So if we look at the current setup, especially in the Northeast, I know that even the UN, as an example, it doesn't give cash when it's supporting humanitarian interventions. What it does is that it gives cards. And then people now use those cards to purchase food, and then the middlemen, quote unquote, go to banks to be paid. So there are various, very rudimentary ways, I would say, that the Nigerian government can look at to reduce the use of cash in those regions. The bottom line there, and the most important word, is you need to trace movement of money. And there are financial experts who I'm sure will be happy and ready to support the Nigerian government in introducing rudimentary measures that would allow the tracing of movement of money in those locations.
President Muhammad Buhari has advised Nigerians to emulate two security men who returned a handbag filled with valuables forgotten at the Murtala Mohammed Airport in Lagos by an American returnee, saying such conduct reflects the new Nigeria that we all desire. A statement by the special advisor to the president on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, said a Lagos-based medical doctor, Banji Oyegbami, had met a family returning from America at the airport on August 18, 2018. According to him, in the process of loading their luggage into the car of their host, the handbag of the returnee's wife fell, unknown to anyone. Furthermore, he said it was not until 90 minutes later that an officer of Halogen Securities on duty at the airport called the couple to come for the retrieved bag. You're watching news now on TV360. There's more, including business and sports, after this.
Oh, Nigeria yiti gbogbo wa ni. Oh boy, now what for this our obodo Naija o? You no say I fit choose who go rule this our country come 2019.
Who tell you say you get that kind power? Abi you get connection up here?
Shine your eyes. Yes, ke. With my PVC, I get power when no connection fit give anybody.
Hey, the guys, you mean I'm say with only PVC, I fit choose senator, governor, and even president?
With my PVC, I fit vote who I want, how I want it, and when I want it.
Nah, uche dikwano kwa sense dey there. But you mean now?
Yes, ke. Anywhere you dey, whether na for office, for shop, or even if na house, as long as you don't reach 18 years, make una alele go get una PVC because this country now we all know.
This message is powered by Good Governance Ambassador of Nigeria, Gogan.
You're welcome back. We have Fidelia Aguncha standing by for the latest in business. Hello, Fidelia.
Hi, Aneta.
So what's top the story? What's topping the story in business today?
Okay, allow a play of words here, Aneta, but what's top is down. Bank loans to people and companies are decreasing, but the good news here is there is a turnaround when we look at the stock market later on. All right, the total loans granted by Nigerian banks to the private sector declined by 600.60 billion naira from 16 trillion naira in the first quarter of 2017 to 15.34 trillion naira in the second quarter of 2018. A report by the National Bureau of Statistics on selected banking sector data revealed that credit to the private sector declined for 6 consecutive quarters. A breakdown of the total 63.27 trillion naira credit provided in 2017 by banks to finance activities of the private sector showed that 16 trillion naira was provided in the first quarter. The second, third, and fourth quarters had 15.7 trillion naira, 15.83 trillion naira, and 15.74 trillion naira, respectively. Despite the latest fall in oil prices, Nigeria has recorded a significant increase in oil export revenue as the country earned an estimated $26 billion in the first 7 months of this year. The country saw its oil export revenue rise by 30% to $34 billion in 2017 from $26 billion in 2016. Now, this is according to the new OPEC Revenue Fact Report released by the Energy Information Administration on Tuesday. Nigeria, which is Africa's top oil producer, had the 6th biggest revenue in the 15-member Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and the lowest per capita oil revenue last year. Now, oil prices slipped on Thursday, weighed down by the escalating trade dispute between the United States and China, although a decline in U.S. commercial crude inventories offered some support. Brent crude oil futures were at $74.54 a barrel, while U.S. crude futures were at $67.80 a barrel. The United States and China escalated their hostile trade war on Thursday, implementing punitive 25% tariff on $16 billion worth of the other's goods. Washington is holding a hearing this week on a proposed list of an additional $200 billion worth of Chinese imports to face duties. Let's now take a look at the stock markets. Resuming trade after the summer break, the Nigeria Stock Exchange closed in the positive territory, recording a 1.17% rise in the all-share index, while the market capitalization stood at 12.852 trillion naira. Leading today's pack of gainers are Dangote Cement, Guarantee Trust Bank, Dangote Flour Mill, and Owando PLC. And as we can see, Dangote Cement closed at 230 naira, increasing by 6.98%, while Guarantee closed at 37 naira 0.8 kobo, increasing by 2.3%, followed closely by Dangote Flour and Owando. Now, suffering the most loss from today's market were Total, Okomu Oil, WAPCO, and ETI, with their shares declining drastically by 2.95%, 4.49%, 5.58% and 6.34% respectively. The banking sector again dominated the top traders chart with UBA, First Bank, Zenith Bank, as you can see here, and Nigeria and Transco actually making the top traders chart again for like 5 days straight now. But in summary, over 220.710 million shares worth over 2.531 billion naira were transacted in 3,287 deals. And that's been a look at the world of business. Over to you, Aneta.
Many thanks for that, Fidelia. And just ahead is the latest on U.S.-South Africa relations. Stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
How work?
Oh, correct, Oga.
What is it that you are doing?
Oga, they command the part now. Make we go sell for.
Oga, na correct kuza be this so. Oga Titus and him boys them. They do am. They will command the original parts, sell them, make plenty kuza. No wonder our customers bring the generator back to our workshop because they bad. And not because of stuff. Now because they overuse the generator. Plus say NEPA no they give them electricity.
Before I open my eye, Makachuku look at my talk in the heaven.
replace this original generator parts back inside this generator of my customer. In short, before una do am, frog jump. One. Frog jump. 1, 2, 1. Stealing of generator parts or changing of original parts to a fake one. That is the corruption. Not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
At least 4 people, including security personnel, have been reported killed in a gun attack by suspected militants on a checkpoint east of the Libyan capital, Tripoli. Islamic State militants are suspected to be behind the attack. Miftah Hamadi, the mayor of Zlatan, where the attack took place, said the incident occurred on the coastal road leading from Tripoli to the port city of Misrata between Zlatan and Homs. The sect had claimed responsibility for a deadly attack by gunmen on the offices of the Electoral Commission in Tripoli in May and an attack on a court complex in Misrata last year. At least 61 people have died in the latest outbreak of Ebola in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Authorities who confirmed the death added that 4 new drugs have been added to the roster of treatment. The Health Ministry's General Directorate for Combating Disease said 103 cases of Ebola had been recorded in the eastern DRC as of August 22, 76 of which had been confirmed by laboratory tests. Of the 103 cases, there were 61 deaths, 34 of which have been confirmed by lab tests, while 27 others were considered probable cases of Ebola. The outbreak began on August 1st in Magina in North Kivu province, and cases have been reported in neighboring Ituri province. South Africa hit back at Donald Trump on Thursday after the U.S. president criticized the country's land reform programs in an overnight tweet. The controversy began when Trump tweeted late Wednesday that he had asked Secretary of State Mike Pompeo to closely study the South African land and farm seizures and expropriations and the large-scale killings of farmers. Trump's tweet appeared to be a response to a report on Fox News which alleged that the South African government was seizing land from white farmers. On Thursday, the South African government said Trump's tweet was based on false information and said it will call on the U.S. Embassy to explain the president's remarks. In sports, Super Eagles coach Kenneth Raw has confirmed Captain Mikel B will miss the African Cup of Nations qualifier against Seychelles. Raw said Mikel called him to withdraw from possible selection because he just returned recently from injury and would need to concentrate on improving his fitness. Raw is set to name his squad for the September 8th fixture on Friday as the Super Eagles look to keep their qualification hopes alive for the 2019 tournament in Cameroon next June. Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen has joined Belgian club RSC Charleroi on a season loan deal from VfL Wolfsburg. The player who confirmed this to Newsman says he's happy to have joined, adding that he's looking forward to the new challenge. Osimhen joined VfL Wolfsburg in 2015 after scoring 10 goals to help Nigeria win the 2015 FIFA Under-17 World Cup in Chile for a record 5th time. Osimhen, who was plagued with injuries shortly after his arrival at Wolfsburg, made 16 league appearances before his loan switch. Cristiano Ronaldo has said the decision to leave Real Madrid for Juventus after 9 trophy-filled years in Spain was an easy one to make. The 33-year-old, who joined the Italian champions last month on a 4-year deal, ending his stint in Spain that saw him win 2 La Liga titles and 4 Champions League trophies, is finally leaving. Juventus paid €100 million to sign Ronaldo, who made his league debut in their 3-2 win at Chievo last Sunday. He has been expected to deliver a Champions League title to the Italian champions. And that has been news now on TV360 Nigeria. Thank you for watching.